While Serena Williams shakes up the world of tennis, her husband, billionaire entrepreneur Alexis Ohanian, is out to change the mind of CEOs when it comes to paternity leave. He's partnered with Dove Men+Care in a campaign to push for better paid family leave. The fight is personal because after his daughter Olympia was born, he found himself struggling with newfound fatherhood responsibilities. In today's Bloomberg Equality, our ongoing conversation about the bottom line impact of diversity, I sat down with Alexis and asked him why he's so passionate about paternity leave.
The sad reality is less than 1 in 5 American men even have access to paternity leave, and then the numbers of them who take it are even lower. This is a challenge, right? We as a society have not put enough of the expectation on men or given them the opportunity to step up. And I was fortunate enough as a founder of a company to have a pretty progressive paid family leave policy, 16 weeks, man or woman, adopted or whatever. If you got a new baby, you're getting time off. And I took full advantage of it. And I did so and took my full time and talked about it on TV because I wanted other career, sort of hard-charging business dads, tech execs, CEOs, all the way down to the rank and file, men, all seeing that this was not mutually exclusive with being career driven.
So did you see your colleagues, did you see people at your company follow suit and do the same thing? And were they saying, thank you so much for making this something visible that we can follow?
I got feedback from folks, like a range of people, whether it was employees or just random people on the internet, saying how much they appreciated the air cover. I also saw CEOs of portfolio companies that we've invested in who reached out for advice and suggestions and who have now come back to me with stories of success. Because, we don't force our companies, but we do try to counsel them, we do try to guide them. And what these CEOs are learning is that by investing in their employees, by letting them know that they have this time, man or woman, but especially if they're a dad, and encouraging them to take the time, they're seeing huge returns. We're all so desperate for talent, both to recruit it and retain it. And we're now seeing this kind of arms race around paid leave. Sweetgreen just recently announced 6 months for their employees.
Yeah, but no one actually takes 6 months paid leave. It's one thing to offer it out there.
Yeah.
A lot of companies do that. Some companies in Silicon Valley offer unlimited time off, vacation days, and we know most people don't do that.
Yes, I think and you're right, when it comes to vacation time, I think it's a little trickier because there's less of an impetus to go do it. Whereas when you're having the baby, you know the due date, and as you and I both know, when that baby shows up, you have no choice. Like the world has changed, right? And so I think a big part of it is encouraging, especially men, to take their paternity leave. And that's why I was so outspoken about it before I took it, been so outspoken since. That's why I partnered with Dove Men+Care on both the pledge and this campaign to really we want to bring 100,000 signatures on this pledge to Washington in October to actually get a federal law passed so that we're not just relying on the private sector to step up. We're actually saying, look, these are the values we believe in as Americans. We're the last country on the planet, the developed world, to have a form of federal paid leave, and every American worker deserves it.
How does Serena fit into all of this with your posts, with your push for paternal leave?
She certainly, in the watching what she went through during the childbirth and then after, life-threatening consequences, where I knew in those weeks after there was another level of responsibility for me as a partner to her and also father our daughter. Going through that, even with all of the resources we have financially, with family and paid leave, we had everything going for us, and it was still such a traumatic time that it crystallized how valuable this is to make sure every American gets, because I could not imagine going through it. 1 in 4 American women are back to work in 2 weeks after giving birth. I could not imagine my wife having to go back to work. I could not have gone back to work with a clear head and done any kind of good work, knowing that my home front, that my castle was under siege.
That was billionaire entrepreneur Alexis Ohanian, clearly proud dad, better known to most people as Mr. Serena Williams, and of course, just in time for Father's Day.
He is such a nice individual. It was such a great pleasure to interview him, and clearly you did a great job. And it's really interesting that we're starting to see more companies, particularly in Silicon Valley. My husband works for one, and he gets 18 weeks paid leave as paternity, and it's starting to shift the dial as to whether...
Well, let's hope for his sake that he takes
it. He has promised me that he will, but it's about setting a precedent, isn't it?
Yes.
We need those above to do so. It's interesting times.